All right, we are streaming live. Everybody say hi. We are streaming live here. Michael LAFIDO, you're watching a live stream where we're going to be sharing, you guys are going to be sharing with me the questions that you wrote down. Hopefully you wrote them down. The questions that naturally came up through the morning for the first half of our training that you have about real estate, luxury real estate, or some big takeaways you were hoping to walk away with. You're going to share those today. You don't have to stand up, but we have a mic, so you're either going to have to yell it or you're going to have to yell in the mic. But before we do that, 3 claps if you got a lot of value from this morning. 3 claps. Let's try that again. 3 claps. Try that again. 3 claps. 3 claps. All right, Michael LAFIDO, we are live streaming here. We are, what's the country club? Granite Bay Country Club, and we are streaming live on multiple platforms. This is our Luxury Fridays. We're doing it on Thursday. And I want you guys to review your note takers, the questions that you had, that you were hoping to get answered. This might be a 5-minute, I call this AMA, Ask Me Anything. This might be a 5-minute AMA, or it could be 50 minutes. This is really about you. We have over 250 agents in this room right now. Let's hear it for you guys. We had 330 signed up and 250 showed up. That tells you that these 250 are dedicated, so I commend you. I had people from all walks of life approach me during lunchtime, and it was so inspiring. I have a couple that approached me that are non-licensed. The one gentleman that came over from Afghanistan, where are you at? Stand up. Well, did you have a coat on? Did you and I talk? Were we wearing some? No. This gentleman too is from Afghanistan, but way in the back, we got another person. He came over at the start of COVID. He's a non-licensed real estate agent, and share with everybody some takeaways, even though you're not a licensed realtor. Just yell it out. What's something you got from this morning? First day COVID hit, he came, 2020. But there's a lot more that I learned at this moment that I can only mention a few of them. Just share one nugget. Well, your biggest takeaway.
Like, I'm even in a different industry, but there was one takeaway that I can take with me today is I can leverage real estate while even I'm not in the industry or doesn't work as a agent. So
you can still leverage it. And by the way, his English is amazing. He's been here for 2 years. Let's hear it for him.
Right. Thank you, everybody. That's very inspiring, and I'm glad to be here. That's all.
You're inspiring to me. That's awesome. This other gentleman that was over here and I was role-playing with, he might have stepped out. Same thing, non-real estate agent. He's a lender. He just closed on a $14 million deal as a lender, a portfolio loan, and he's in attendance. And I shared with you previously, I'm a former, oh, there he is. He's right here. Stand up. Your first name again. Joe. Joe was one of my role-playing. Remember when I role-played? So, Joe, you were a lender, and you came to learn. And what did you learn today?
It's all about them. And also do a lot more videos than you're doing today, which I will.
More videos. Yeah. Perfect. Thank you, Joe. Now, I'm a former high school health and physical education teacher, and I have a former high school PE teacher that just retired. Come on up here. This young man here. I wish I could give free gifts to everybody, but this one really hit my heart because I'm a former gym teacher and a football coach, and this guy's got a young family, and he basically don't burn bridges, but he burned the boat. He burned the boat and walked away from his career with, tell everybody, you got a 10-month-old you said?
No, I have a 12 and a 10-year-old.
I'm sorry, 12 and a 10-year-old. I'm off a little bit. 12 and a 10-year-old. And you were a former physical education teacher, strength coach, And just this past year, you put in your retirement paperwork.
Yeah. This was the first school year I didn't go back to school. So.
That's awesome. And your first name?
Gabe.
Gabe, let's hear it for Gabe. Gabe, I got it. That's for you. All right. Thank you, Gabe. Awesome. That's inspiring to me as well. There's inspiration here from all of you, from non-native English speaking to non-licensed real estate agents. This young man stood up, and I didn't even mean it. You're not an agent either.
No, I'm agent.
You are an agent.
I got my license in 2020.
2020. You came to the States, though, recently?
I came to United States in 2016.
Let's hear it for him. Now, guys, this is non-real estate related, but I believe this, so I'm going to share it. I do believe that we have the best country hands down. There's a lot of flaws with our country, okay? Don't get me wrong. We got a lot of flaws. The United States isn't perfect, but it's way better than the alternative that those people that threaten to leave our country don't leave our country, because it's the land of opportunity. And we have, so I had a gentleman that runs EPM Mortgage, Eddie Perez. I spoke at his conference in Atlanta earlier this year, and he was on my podcast. He talked about the American gift, not the American dream. He goes, if you live in America, you're already living the dream. It's what you do with it. That's the gift. So, again, I had another young man in the back. First name, help me out. Stood up. Stand up. Yeah, stand up. No, the gentleman with the dreads, stand up. First name, Robert. Robert came up to me and just said, hey, I appreciate you talking about diversity in your training. Okay, you're talking about the different alliances. Guys, if you're not, thanks, Robert, and let's hear it for Robert for just coming on up. So, you never judge a book by its cover. I know a lot of billionaires that they don't look like they have money. Okay, they wear T-shirts and jeans and flip-flops. Okay, judge people by their character. Okay, there's no doubt about that. Now, the other thing I want to share with you is diversity. You guys should be joining these various diversity groups. I'm a member of NAREB, National Association of Real Estate Brokers. I'm honored to be speaking at their 75th annual conference in 2 weeks in Tampa. NAREB stands for National Association of Real Estate Brokers, or Realtists. That's the African American association, because in the 1940s, blacks were not allowed to be members of National Association of Realtors. 75. I'm obviously Caucasian. I'm a member of NAREB. I'm a member of NAREP, National Association of Real Estate Professionals. Hispanic Real Estate Professional. ARIA, okay, my good friend Jim, former president, spoke at one of my events. I'm a member of that organization. I'm a member of the LGBTQ Alliance. I'm speaking at their big conference. You don't have to be gay to be a member. You can be an ally, to be supportive. Do you realize in 27 states it's legal to still discriminate based on someone's sexual orientation? I don't want to rent to you if you're gay. I don't want to sell to you. That's wrong. So being part of these associations help for causes and help raise the bar. Okay, so I recommend all of these. You can see me later if you want more information on these. All right, what we're going to do right now is we're going to start our Q&A section. I have one gentleman that's got to leave quickly. I told him I'm going to answer his question first. Stand up, nice and loud. Say who you are, how long you've been. Okay, yeah. Would you do that? Would you go? Yeah. Stand up. Tell me who you are, how long you've been licensed for, and what your question is.
My name is Mango Watts. I've been licensed for almost 2 years. My question is, earlier when you spoke about defining luxury, you gave some monetary value when you said 3 times the average price, and then the super is 10 times, and then you said it was, in your words, relative, but you didn't say anything else. Is there any other way that you define luxury?
So great question. So I say it's relative to the given market, right? So a luxury home is different in Rochester, New York, than Davenport, Iowa, the mic runner's right there, than another market. So it's all relative. So I'm just talking about it from a price point standpoint. But people can define luxury based on brand, based on style, the way something makes you feel. You know, it's really it's a mixture of definitions. So when I was defining luxury and high-end and average, I was talking about price point only. But you can have an entry-level property that has got unbelievable finishes and flooring and window treatments and lighting. So I'm really talking about price point only. Does that make sense?
Right. I'm just, my mind state is, if somebody's coming
Yeah, so that's what I mean by relative. So if there's a neighborhood in Chicago where I'm based and the average sale price is $100,000, where another neighborhood, the average sale price is $500,000, in that $500,000 marketplace, luxury is 1.5 and above. Where in that other area, it might be 100,000 times 3, it might be 200,000 or 300,000. So when I say it's all relative, it's relative to that given market. And we know, like I live in Wheaton, Illinois, the north side of Wheaton is different than the south side. A certain school district might be more for resale higher end than another. 90210 is different than area code 90211, right? So it's really all relative, and that's what I mean by that. Okay? Great question. Thank you. Mango, let's hear it for Mango. Next question. I got a question over here, and then I saw a young lady in the back. Thank you. You're getting a workout today.
Thanks, Michael. My name's Mario. Some of the properties, like in our area, our neck of the woods, you're talking like the Fab 40s, houses that may be 100 years old or 70 years old. How do you address deferred maintenance on a property that is seen its day and needs have some significant work? Do you address it before the listing, or do you recommend taking care of wood rot, things like that ahead of time?
Great. I'm a big believer of being proactive versus reactive. Proactive is addressing the elephants in the room, like Hotels.com, Captain Obvious. So I shared with you some before and after books. So having some visuals, having some case studies where, hey, this home sold as is. It had some deferred maintenance. It sold for X. Another one down the street, similar age, they invested some money and it sold for Y. So it's like if you were selling a car at Carvana and you invested $1,000 on detail and redo some upholstery and buff it out and put some new tires on it, and they gave you $5,000 more on trade-in if you invested $1,000. Would you invest $1,000 to get $5,000 back? No different. Use some examples of similar aged comparables and show hey, they didn't do much and this is what it sold for, or they did some and it sold for a lot more. And so some people are more motivated by time. Some people are more motivated by bottom line, top dollar. Most sellers want most amount of money. Some want, I want it sold yesterday and top dollar. Right? That's hard to get unless you're in a really, really hot market. So getting back to your question to answer it directly, I would address the elephant in the room with market research. Remember right before lunch break, I talked about market research is what? The bad guy, right? So market research suggests, Mr. Seller, that today's buyers, they want turnkey, especially if you have a first-time home buyer that might not be handy. They might be overwhelmed if they see a lot of deferred maintenance. The landscaping's overgrown. There's chipped paint. You have some plaster coming down off the ceiling, whatever it might be. And so indirectly, you're telling them you can't maintain this 100-year-old home or 40-year-old home. If you can't do it, if they can't do it, how are you going to do it? Those subliminal messages are being sent out to the buyer. So you want to address those if possible. But you have some divorce situations. You have some people in a financial hardship that they can't do those things. So like Sarah Palin once says, you sometimes got to put lipstick on a pig and do some things on a $0 budget with some staging and some smoke and mirrors a little bit. Is that helpful? Good question. A couple questions back there. We'll have the mic runner, and we'll start with the young lady, then the gentleman.
Hi there. I recently held a luxury open house for one of the realtors on my team, and there was this buyer who seemed very interested in the home, asked me to stay after the open, and my first thought was, oh, I need a buyer's agreement. Long story short, she ended up coming back the next day with another agent when I wasn't holding it open, bought the house, I got snuffed out of it, and so what's your thought on buyer's agreements?
I am not a managing broker. This is my CYA a little bit, you know what I mean? Cover your, So check with your broker. Everybody runs their business differently. I'm currently working with that buyer I referenced earlier. He's looking at places from $4 million to $8, $9 million. I found him an off-market property. $6.5 million. The seller said, I'm not paying your fee. even though I sent them a letter that says I am working with an active buyer. If you are ever interested in selling, let me know. I have a buyer. The benefit of my buyer is their cash. It can be be flexible with closing, and you only have to pay my portion of the commission, not both ends. Even though she responded to that letter, she wasn't going to pay me. So I had to address the elephant in the room with the buyer. Said to the buyer, said, listen, I'm working, as you know, I'm sending some letters, doing some door knocking, doing some grassroots to find you an off-market property. By the way, that's the one letter I'm giving those of you that invest in the designation. So I flat out asked him, I said, here's the story. Most of those houses I've showed you previously, they're agreeing to pay my fee, but this one I want to show you isn't willing to. If I find you an off-market property, would you sign this agreement and agree to pay my fee? He said yes. In that case scenario for you, it's tough. You know, it's really, you want to build relationships. Nobody wants, you just met them, here, sign this agreement. So, you know, procuring cause, it's tough to, you know, you pick your battles. For me, in that scenario, in California, are you allowed to give rebates back to buyers? Like Redfin in my state, they advertise if you buy a home through them, they'll give you back. It's legal in Illinois. Is it legal in California? We got some saying no, some. Check with your broker on it, okay? If it is, you might, just like we did that role playing with, I was at Ring Ring, we did the role play with the agent who had the luxury listing. Remember that? And I said, hey, if I find a buyer, or if one of those buyers buys down the road, I'll give you a referral fee, making a win-win. You might do a win-win with the buyer. So, hey, listen, this house is amazing. If you decide to write on this or any other home and you work with me, throw in a home warranty, something like that on a deferred maintenance property, they would like that. Hey, if anything goes wrong in the first year or a lot of things go wrong, I'll buy you a warranty if you buy through me. You know, something along those lines. But I'll be honest with you, 80% of my buyers, I don't do a buyer's agreement, so I'm not the right guy to answer. Some people are like, I won't do anything. I had a luxury panel in Miami, and she said she turned down a $6 million buyer because he wouldn't sign. Like, I don't know. For me, I'm trustworthy. I try to build rapport and value, and hopefully they do the right thing. I don't do buyer's agents agreements as much as I should. For those of you that in here that do it all the time, let's set up a call. I'll feature on the Luxury Fridays. That's awesome because I could do better at it. This gentleman right behind her with the mic.
Yes, I have a microphone.
Oh,
already.
perfect.
Microphone. First of all, I want to thank you. You gave a lot of golden nuggets, so I really appreciate you for coming out.
Thank you.
And,
You're welcome.
giving us game today. So my question kind of piggybacks off of hers a little bit because I know you do the luxury listings and everything like that, but how do you, well, if you do you do any type of open houses for them, and how do you market to that sphere to be able to create your opens?
Awesome.
What
So,
type of parties?
first name?
Nias Cooks with eXp Realty.
Okay. Niles?
Nias.
Nice. So I don't do open houses on weekends anymore. I did, you know, remember, I guess they call it PK, pre-kids, right? Pre-kids, I would do open houses on weekends, right? But post-kids, it's more difficult with ball games and that kind of stuff. But I have team members that will, okay? Broker opens. A broker open house, this is a huge nugget here. You guys want another nugget? Broker open houses. I only do broker open houses for one reason. It's not to feed 250 of you, okay? I'm not a food pantry. What I mean by that is there's some agents that go to these broker open houses for the food. They don't care about the house. They don't have buyers. You know what I'm talking about. I was doing a broker open for a client at one point, and an agent came in that broker open. She didn't even tour the whole house. And I saw her like in the food line, getting food, throwing like a napkin over it, like to go. And I know you don't know me that well, but you know enough about me that I don't mind having a conversation, right? So I believe my philosophy is the food is there as a thank you, as a reward, a token of my appreciation of you coming, touring the home, and leaving feedback, written feedback. That's why I do broker opens, the written feedback. And honestly, there's a set of questions, and number one is, what do you think the listing price should be? Question number 2, what do you think is? What do you think the sale price will be? Question 3, 4, and 5 are just camouflage. They're smoke and mirrors, so it's not so obvious that those are the only 2 questions I care about. I ask about thoughts on curb appeal on the outside and maintenance on the inside and any other suggestions. So I can go back to Mr. Seller with 16 surveys and say, listen, 15 said we're overpriced. I've had sellers say, I don't care what they think. Well, you should. They're the ones that have the buyers. They're the ones with the finger on the market, the pulse on the market. So getting back to your question, I'll have team members that will do open houses on weekends. Now, manage the seller's expectations on luxury. Remember I told you I sold the highest sale ever in Wheaton a couple of years, last summer? I proposed this to my client. He was motivated. We had a deal fall apart. He was motivated. They wanted to go to Tennessee. A lot of Illinoisans moving to tax-friendly states. That's another conversation. Our gas prices are maybe higher than yours. That's another conversation. So I said to Eric, Eric, I'm going to propose something to you that is really abnormal in your price point. He was listed at, I think, 3.4 million, 3.5 at the time. I am proposing we do an open house at your house. Now, he had half moved out, so all the valuables were out. If the valuables were there, I would say put them away. But I had this thing like Fort Knox. I had, I think, 8 agents, and I put it out to our database. Some were on my team, some weren't. Who would like to experience an open house at a $3.5 million home? If so, reach out to me. So I assigned them roles. I had somebody upstairs for security. I had someone in the lower level. I had someone in the first, someone wandering on the outside. Okay? I had someone giving guided tours. So make sure, from a safety and a security and theft standpoint, you have some people casing houses, right? So I did do an open house on that week, but I told them nobody else is going to be doing one in this price point in DuPage County. However, who's your buyer? Your buyer might be a Chicago buyer. And they are looking on Realtor.com in their underwear at night, and they're like, I think we want Hinsdale, Illinois, but this house looks pretty cool. It's in Wheaton. I think Wheaton's got a lot of churches, but I've never heard of it. Let's go check it out. People buy on emotion, and they justify on logic. So we were looking for that buyer that said, you know, I know, and we did. We had a buyer come in that was from Hinsdale, Illinois. Hinsdale, Illinois is like Beverly Hills, you know, and Wheaton is like, I don't know, Bible Belt to some people. So it was exactly what I was hoping for. So we do some, but if we were to role play with the win-wins, that's what I would do. I would put it out to the seller, and I might say, Mr. Seller, we might not have any people come through the open house, or just a handful. Even if we don't have a lot of qualified buyers, it's still not a complete loss. Because what happens on third-party websites like Realtor.com and some of the others, those websites put premium placement on the listings that are having open houses. Okay, so we'll get more eyeball traffic. If we get more eyeball traffic, we're more likelihood to get more qualified showings down the road or this weekend. If we get more qualified showings, we're more likelihood to get you top dollar. So that if your open house was a complete bomb and nobody came through, well, you remember, Mr. Seller, I told you earlier, hopefully we get qualified showings through it. But indirectly, it's still not a waste of my time or yours. Is that helpful? Okay, good. You got the mic still? Oh, we got the mic runner here. Let's hear it for our mic runner. She's doing awesome. All right. There's this. Go ahead. Give the mic to somebody else you saw. This young lady right here.
So, what do you do about a listing that's obviously luxury, but it's weird? And the client, the seller's like, I love this house. This is the most amazing, but it's just strange. So how do you get over that, you know, where they want to charge X, Y, and Z because they say it's unique and you're thinking this is unique, and that price is not going to happen?
Your first name?
Cindy.
Cindy. When I was a kid, you know, people didn't text, right? They remember they used to, you write little notes and they would make little triangles and hand them to people and all that. And then they also, some people would put like kick me signs on the back. I swear I got a come list me, I'm a difficult seller or a unique home sign on my back. my stager, Chicagoland Home Staging, she does amazing work. But she's even said, Mike, I don't know how, you attract the most difficult, unique properties in the world. So I'm speaking your lingo right now. You have to talk about market research, and you got to have great case studies and visuals. So again, Mr. Seller, the way you live in your home, the way I live in my house, that's to our own style. We call that decorating. So when you go to sell your home, do you want a larger pool of buyers or a smaller pool of buyers? Smaller pool of buyers is we don't do much. They either like my house or they don't. They like my decorating. They like my window treatments, my bedding, my eccentric taste and colors. My friends say they love it. I was on a listing appointment 3 weeks ago. The guy had blue tile in his kitchen. The lower level, the basement, had wool carpeting from 1980. Original. Oh, people, when they come over, they always comment they like it. I said, I just addressed the elephant in the room in a nice way. I said, let me ask you, how many times have you ever gone to someone else's house and criticized their house to them? Of course nobody's going to say anything negative, right? So I had visuals of before and afters and how we want to neutralize the home to appeal to a larger. Now, again, that might not be your cup of tea. You might say it doesn't even feel like your house anymore. Guess what? You're right. When you go to sell a home, it should feel like the house of many potential buyers to get you top dollar, or you be stubborn and you do it your way, and we have a smaller pool of buyers. Okay? Larger pool, smaller pool. Larger pool, smaller pool. Okay? Having great visuals, having a track record of selling difficult properties. I can pull out case study after case study after case study of unique and different homes. And that makes my job easier. Those of you that get the designation that invested, raise your hand that signed up. Raise your hand. Look around. Let's hear it for those people. Now, those of you that didn't, some of you can't, and you're not in a financial position. That's where I wanted something for everybody. This was a free event. I hope you get a lot of great information from it. But those people that did get it, you're going to get all those before and afters in a digital format. You can leverage mine, but eventually I want you to have your own before and afters. And guess what? You can go, if this is a small brokerage, you can pool all 6 of you together and say, hey, listen, each of you have had a difficult listing that currently or in the past. We want to put together a portfolio of difficult, unique listings and case studies, and then you leverage each other's properties. Earlier we talked about OPP. You remember OPP? Remember talking about that? Are you guys sleeping? Hey! Oh! Hey! Oh! OPP, remember that. We talked about this morning leveraging other people's properties. Remember that? So you can leverage other people's properties for before and afters until you have your own. Okay? So let's hear it for our DJ over here. Rob is doing a great job here. All right. Is that helpful? Did I answer your question? Did I answer your question? All right, good. By the way, I'm not just answering her question. Hopefully all of you have similar type scenarios that this is beneficial to you at home and the rest of you. So there's no stupid questions. Now, when I taught high school health, I have a funny sense of humor. I remember, guys, no stupid questions. There's only stupid people that ask questions sometimes. No, I'm kidding around. I'm kidding around. Okay. All right, next question. This young lady right here, and then we'll go over there.
My name's Haley.
Hi, Haley.
I'm just curious, when you're working in luxury, how important are like knowing about finishes or actually product knowledge?
Oh, my goodness. It's great question. Raise your hand if you have that similar fear. Raise your hand. Look at that. Show the room. Raise your hand. Look at that. Half the room's hands are raised. So it was Haley, right? Haley is not a plant. You know what I mean by a plant? Like I told Haley to ask that question. She's not a plant in the audience. I did not ask her to, but that was one of the things I'll be covering later, Haley. So when you are marketing a unique home, you might have some really nice print collateral, but you should also have special features. Special features are, you know, the highlights of the home, but also a room-by-room breakdown of the uniqueness of each room. Like if we're in the great room right here, that, you know, that's a cherry mantle fireplace, or this is, you know, scraped walnut, whatever it might be floor, right? How many of you have had some concerns about, well, what if they ask me, well, Mike, tell me what kind of floor this is? Or how are you going to write descriptions? Would anybody like to know how to do that? Oh, well, not enough hands. Would anybody like to know the secret of doing that? All right, I got it for you. Haley, you know this house better than of course I do. You and your husband built it. It's absolutely gorgeous. A little, you know, you got to do that a little bit. But you can laugh at that. It's okay. So Haley, do me a favor. So one of the things that we do is when people tour the home, if it's in an entry-level or average price point home, most of the time in a lot of the suburbs, listing agents aren't there, right, for the starter entry level. But at some price point, every market's different. The listing agent is there, okay? So if we're having this conversation and the listing agent isn't there, or maybe a team member is covering for me, you know what we like to do is we like to have nice print collateral. So if they're seeing 6 or 8 homes, they remember yours. But we also put together, Haley, special feature sheets, very similar to what you see here. You know, your address, a property description, and then kind of a room by room, you know, 14 by 18 is the family room, and either bullet points of the flooring and unique features or upgrades or age of appliances or the roof age, whatever. So you know your home better than I do, Haley. So what I would like you to do is, if we agree to work with each other, you're interviewing me, I'm interviewing you, I get it. But if we decide to work with each other, we're a good fit. That one of the things I'd like you to do is go room by room with me or on your own and literally write down the type of the flooring and how old it is and the windows, more than you think you even should write down. Write it all down, Haley, room by room. Then do the outside and the inside and the mechanicals. And then I have these amazing templates. We'll pretty it up, even if you have chicken scratch handwriting. We'll pretty it up. And so then when there's 6 or 8 properties that a buyer's coming through on Saturday, we're going to be on a silver platter. Ours is going to differentiate ourselves. We're going to make our job, the buyer's agent's job, easier, and ours will be memorable. That's the first rule of thumb of marketing, is be memorable. And we want buyers and agents to have a better experience when they come through our properties, and we're going to give them a lot of stuff on a silver platter. Is that helpful? So now you incorporated the seller, and they love that too, by the way. They're describing things. Now, the one thing you have to be careful about is if you want this, if the seller offers to write the agent remarks or the description, you got fair housing to worry about. You know, perfect for the family, walking distance to down. You know, not everybody can walk, right? So you have fair housing. You can't take it. They could write it, but then you got to run it by your broker owner or proof it and make sure from a fair housing standpoint it's written properly. I had a seller last year that was left-brain analytical merger and acquisition attorney. Okay, you talk about analytical Alex, okay, analytical Amy. It was him. He wrote this description. He asked me, how many characters in your MLS description? 3,500. Oh, man, mine's 4,000. I have to pull 500 words. He was freaking out. He literally used all 3,500 characters. And then I had to correct it because he talked about for the family and your kids. But again, he wanted to micromanage everything. And he didn't understand that. He goes, why does it say this? I'm like, well, that's fair housing. You can't. So again, you can't just give carte blanche to your clients to write everything. Is this helpful? Anything else? Any other questions? Raise them. This gentleman right up here, and then that, actually right there. Go, save time. And then I'll get you, and then you.
Thank you, Michael, for all amazing information. I'm just asking for one extra nugget because I'm doing an open house this Sunday on 2.5 million home. And
woo! Let's hear it!
Way, you are all invited.
Oh, that's all you're saying right now? Bring me a buyer?
Yes.
Okay. Well,
I actually want to know how I can attract my own buyer.
Okay, so perfect. So what I would do is I would do a pre-open house video. So it's Sunday. I would do a video maybe on Friday or Saturday in front of the house talking about we're having this amazing home behind me is 6,000 square feet, features A, B, C, and D. We open up doors at 1 o'clock, but if you want a private showing beforehand because you don't like to be around people, you don't like them, they don't like you, or you're worried about germs or COVID or whatever, you want privacy, you like to take your time at a private showing, contact me, I'll get you in beforehand. Okay, that's how you can attract your own buyer perhaps. Door knock. Door knock. This is the house here. The house is here. I door knock 5 to 10 houses to the right of the house and to the left, and 20 across the street. Be careful with fair housing with what I'm about to say, but wouldn't it be nice to pick your next neighbor? Mr. Seller, maybe you entertain, maybe you don't, but maybe people come up to you and say, wow, we love this neighborhood. Let us know if there's anything coming on the market. Well, let some people know we're having an open house Sunday from 1 to 3. Send them my way. Give them my number. Boom. Dual agency. Is that helpful? All right. What's the address? Well, give me a shout out. I'll give you some love. What's the address? Oh, I'm throwing her on the spot. You're like me. It's okay.
15015 Grand Knoll Drive in Meadow. Beautiful brand new home. 2.5 million.
2.5 million. Perfect. If you have a buyer, see her afterwards. Perfect. This young man had a question.
Hey, Michael. My name is Brandon. Quick question. How did you get your first luxury client? And if you had to start over again today, how would you build, what actions would you take to build a luxury database today?
Great question. Great question. First off, you always remember the first listing, the first buyer. I remember the first luxury listing. Your second question is what, I'll get to the first in a minute. What would I do today? I wouldn't wait. I wouldn't wait till I was in my mid-30s, till I was 10 plus years licensed to go after those upper price points. I wouldn't wait. You don't have to be licensed 10 plus years or with a certain brokerage, certain brand. I joined a brand that wasn't known for luxury. Again, you are your brand, so don't wait. And as I told you, if I were to move to your market, I would join a chamber, I would network, I would OPP other people's properties until you have your own inventory. So that's what I would, if I went back to my younger self, what I would do. So yeah, you got to go to where the money is, right? So we're in a country club right now, okay? So those establishments, those nonprofits. Maybe you live in a community that isn't high end. You know, join the chamber in that high end. Get to know business owners. Those business owners have 250 clients. You know, again, the best way to get a referral is give a referral, okay? Lead with the giving hand. Add value, so it's called reciprocity, so people will want to return the favor, okay? Great question. It's not, there's no easy button. It's a multitude of a lot of things. It's a lot of various things. Continue to believe you can work on your mindset, but develop systems to position yourself. By the way, if you were to do a fresh eyes analysis, I call it a SWOT analysis. Who's heard of SWOT before? S stands for strengths, W is, O is opportunities, T is threats. If you were to do a SWOT analysis on your branding, on your marketing, on your website, on your social media, you might come up with some ideas, you might not, okay? When I wrote this book, it's not even, this is a picture book, but where's my other books? They're all over the place. When I wrote my book, Luxury Listing Specialist, believe me, I had a lot of people proofread this to poke holes in it. Maybe I said there, meaning T-H-E-I-R, but I spelled it T-H-E-R-E, okay? So you have to have people proofing. You need people to do a SWOT analysis on your branding, on your website, on your marketing, because you are missing, you have blind spots. You have blind spots, so that's really important, okay? You have blind spots that you're not aware of, okay? So do a SWOT analysis on your branding, on your marketing. People are going to Google you. Well, Mike, I'm not into LinkedIn. Well, guess what? Your potential client might be, and they go onto your LinkedIn, and you have your glamour shots picture from the mall from 24 years ago. Well, Mike, I'm not on Instagram, or I'm not on TikTok. I'm telling you, okay? You might not be, you can't be all things. You should really have 3, maybe 4 social media channels, and those are your go-tos. You can't do them all. There's always going to be a new one. Don't be overwhelmed, because you won't do anything if you're overwhelmed. Okay? Got time for a couple more questions. This has been very good. We got 4 of them right here, so let's stick with this table, and then we'll move on. Okay.
Hey, Mike, my name's Connor Hoffman.
Hi, Connor.
Hey. So I'm wondering, what about EXP made you want to switch over from your, already successful company that you were with or that you were running?
Yeah, as I mentioned earlier, this is a brand agnostic event, so I'm not going to pitch EXP to you. That's not what this is. But I will tell you, it could be Keller Williams. It could be Coldwell Banker. What I'm telling you is I'm my brand. I could be with any company. I personally, I like the cap with EXP. I'm already 100% commission. My other company, which was #1 in Illinois, a great company, they got 15% of everything. I saved $40,000 in the month of March on commissions only in 1 month, based on capping. So there's other revenue streams with EXP, and to me that was attractive.
Good afternoon, Dimos Papadopoulos. So when you show up at a listing, how do you show up in terms of your dress? You go kind of casual, the way you look now? Do you recommend that people who are kind of new to luxury could dress up, or just go as they normally go, or how do you show up there?
It's always better to be safe to be dressed up if you're not sure. Okay? Now, early on when I go on that multi-million-dollar appointment, suit and tie. Now I do sport coat, collared shirt. I don't wear a tie too much. Okay? My track record, I'm assuming they've done some due diligence, but even if they haven't, I'm sending them stuff ahead of time to make sure that they review before we send appointments. Now I can track. I use some services where if I'm sending a bunch of assets or attachments, I can track if they looked at them, if they clicked on them. If they haven't, we'll make sure they do before the appointment. But it's always safer to overdress than underdress. Okay? We shouldn't judge a book by its cover, but there are people that do. Okay? You want to be like ZZ Top, a fine-dressed man. Every girl's crazy about a fine-dressed man. All right, there we go. Good question, though. Next.
What about age? I know that myself, if I was to go into a $1 million listing appointment and I'm talking to a more elder family or person that is more seasoned in their real estate investments, I would have a big fear of them seeing me so young as to not maybe be able to handle their...
Great question. First name?
Viridiana Mejia.
You got a nickname?
Yes, V.
V, there we go. All right, V. All right. I was a former teacher, and I would butcher names. Oh, my God, I was the worst at names, the worst. So that's why I went to the nickname right away, because I knew I was going to butcher that. So, V, right? Yes. Stand up for a second, V. First name, my Greek friend. I'm Italian. I know Italian, Greek. Demos. Stand up, Demos. Stand next to this young lady here. Turn towards the audience and the camera and wave. Everybody wave. Okay. Now, this is a perfect example. A younger agent with a seasoned agent. If you brought him to the appointment, you could have a seat. Thank you. Yeah. If you brought this young man to the appointment, indirectly, they think team, strength in numbers. Indirectly, they might think, man, you're the young, savvy tech, video, TikTok, Instagram, social media, and he's got the database or the experience. You know, we ordered dinner here yesterday at the Country Club, Scott, right? And if we're sitting here at the Country Club, a lot of times what happens, you got an experienced waiter and they come with the new one, and they address the elephant in the room. Oh, this young man's in training, he's going to be following me around. Guess what? You cut him a lot more slack. You have a longer fuse, a longer wick, right? He's in training. Address the elephant in the room. You know, I'm a newer agent. I got a huge database. I'm social media. I got an experienced business partner. Even if he's not on your team, some people define team differently than other people. He's in your office. That might be a team to some people. He's got a pulse. That might be, to some people too, okay? So younger, address it. Maybe on a big appointment or something, bring a team member. I like female and male. Male and female. Okay? Is that helpful, everybody? Okay, good. Any other, this young man here, he's got the Kansas State.
Thanks, Michael.
Yes, sir.
Brand new agent here. Can I get your, thank you, for the 3
Brand new agent, let's hear it for him.
Thank you. My question is, I guess, your best tidbit of information for a brand new agent still working a normal Monday through Friday 8 to 5 grind that hasn't taken the plunge to quit that job, but to potentially quit that job.
Yeah, I was in your shoes, man. I was there. This young man just did it in the last year, the teacher over here. So I feel you. I tell agents, I told the intern that worked for me last year, Dugan, I said, man, if you have to, because he just moved to Nashville, I told you, he did that $4.2 million open house last weekend. If you have to, I told Dugan, you might have to get a job to get some money coming in, you know, get a job that you're socially interacting with potential clients. You know, whether it be working at a country club, you know, something along those lines. I also tell people that are thinking of making the transition full-time into real estate, I always look up to people. You know, Mark Twain once said, 20 years from now, you're going to regret in life things you didn't do versus what you did. I was in there. I struggled. March 19th of 2010 was my last day of teaching. I struggled. My family members, they all thought I was nuts. Stepping away from pension, health care, guaranteed income. I'll be honest with you, my wife even really thought I should stick with the teaching. She married a teacher. I married my passion. My passion was real estate. I wear it on my sleeve. I'm Italian. I can't fake it. I can't fake it you'll know. I followed and I chased my dream. I did not want to go home to my wife and kids and be miserable in a job that I wasn't happy with. So everybody's different. I can't tell you, your story might be different than somebody else going through this struggle. You got to, I'm Italian, you can see my hairy arms. You ever pull a Band-Aid off and pull hair with you, it doesn't feel good? You got to pull the Band-Aid off at some point. Some people it's quicker than others. For me, I was making more as an agent than I was teaching, so it was a little bit easier. So you got to be strategic about it. I don't want you to just be all fired up tonight. I'm quitting my job. And you got no plan B, okay? So be smart about it. Be strategic about it. Pray about it. Have a team, a supporting team that might be able to throw you some leads or give you some open houses, or you can leverage their properties until you have your own, okay? Our course, we give people hope. We give them tools and resources, leveraging that. When I launched our course 6 years ago, I struggled. Do I require some number, magical number 352 luxury sales before they become certified? And ultimately, I decided no, because the consumer deserves agents that have tools and resources, as opposed to the agent that says, I got to sell a couple homes before I can take your course. One of the co-founders of eXp Realty, Brian Colhane, I helped him secure a $6.5 million home in Scottsdale 3-4 years ago, and he didn't qualify for the other designation. He took mine. They wouldn't have accepted him because he didn't have those sales. I wanted Brian to be successful so he can get those homes sold. Does that make sense? Okay, guys, this is literally, we're at 46 minutes of Q&A. Well, this was helpful? Okay. We got one last question here from the young lady over. One last question, and then we're going to move on. But guys, I wanted this to be really about you. This Q&A, or this is called Ask Me Anything. We do this each Friday on our Luxury Fridays. Your first name?
Okay, Mariah with eXp Realty.
Mariah Carey makes amazing music, doesn't she?
I have a question when it comes to you prospecting for these luxury clients, whether it's a buyer or a seller. How much are you willing to invest in them? Meaning, would you take them out to dinner? Do you take them out golfing? Do you take them out? What do you do to get their business?
Yeah, that's a great question.
Or the maximum that you've done or would do?
Yeah, so I don't buy my clients first off, but it is about the experience. So you need to know what a sale's worth to you. A lot of the upper end clientele are trust-based, right? So it's about relationships. But it's a great question. I don't have an average. Every house is different. I can go, if you guys are all houses, I don't have a one-size-fit-all marketing plan. Every house is different. Every budget is different. I have some sellers like that 1.4 that had the blue kitchen tile I told you about. He was unrealistic on price. So I told him we charge a retainer. I was going to charge him a retainer, an upfront retainer, because it was his price. I was not confident at the price, so I was going to charge him an upfront marketing fee, if you will. Just like staging. Do you stage all homes? I pay for some. If Michael Jordan called me and said, I want you to list my house, but you got to pay for staging, where do I sign? You got to run your business like a business. So some clients aren't good for you, right? They're vampires of your time. Others, you might be more flexible with your terms and your fees. So every client is different. So relationships are really important to build in the upper price points, but I usually, on a social setting, I got young kids. There's some clients I'd love to go out to dinner and do some things. I just don't necessarily have as much time that I would like, being a father of 3 kids, but I could definitely do a better job at that. It's not a must. No, it's not a must. Listen, some are catered to all the time, and they're expecting free, they're expecting this, that, but most time is the most valuable asset that all of us have in the room, and many of them are busy. They're busy with work, they're busy with leisure. No offense, they hiring you to get their home sold, they don't need another friend. Some do, some don't. You might have a chatty Kathy, and she just, every time she calls, it's one-sided conversation. You know the ones I'm talking about. 30 minutes, she talks the whole time. You can't get in a word edgewise. You're a social worker, a psychologist, a marriage counselor, all the above. Does that happen in this industry? Raise your hand. Yeah, it happens. So sometimes you got to do that. But to answer your question, haven't had to entertain and wine and dine to get clients. Now, I do go to network, and I network with business owners, and I go to nonprofits and build relationships, and that's been a better return on my investment in time. Helpful? Awesome. All right, hey guys, tune in every week. Michael LaFido. Appreciate you guys. Check out luxuryfridays.com. And then this is our new scanning option. We got a real cool offer here. Guys, appreciate it. Take care. All right. All right, hey, so that was my videos, and hopefully they got some value for it. Here's what we're going to do. I'm going to break things up right now. First off, stand up. Stand up right where you're at. You're in the home stretch right now. You are in the home stretch. That is why we're stretching. You're in the home stretch. The best in the training is yet to come. We got an exercise. This is a Tony Robbins exercise. All right, everybody face forward. Face the big QR code. What time is it, Rob? What? All right, we got about 10 minutes left. All right. So we'll do the Tony Robbins exercise right now, though. Okay? Here's the exercise. Take your right hand, face this big QR code. I want you, don't move your feet. Your feet are facing forward. I want you to turn with your right hand. This is your right hand, by the way. Left, right. You're going to take your right hand, and I want you to turn as far as you can, and wherever you turn, just focus on that person, the wall, whatever. Okay, come back around. All right, now I want you to close your eyes. We're going to do a visual right now. You're going to close your eyes. Just like athletes, they picture that game-winning shot. Listen, we talked earlier today about breaking down barriers. I talked earlier today about why not you? Why can't you be that next luxury agent? The Roger Bannister, the first person to run the 4-minute mile, the first person in your family to make it. You had a terrible divorce. You want to prove that ex-husband or that ex-wife wrong. You had a teacher, you had a coach, you had somebody that doesn't believe in you. Maybe it's intrinsic motivation, maybe it's extrinsic. I don't know what it is, but everybody in here is something special about you, and I'd love to work with you. Continue, whether it be free through our Luxury Fridays or some capacity. But I want you right now to visualize that same exercise we just did. You're not going to do it right now, but you're visually raising your right hand. You're not doing it right now. You're just visually, mentally doing it. And you're going to turn again mentally with your right hand, your index finger pointing out, and you're turning, you're turning, you're turning, you're turning. You're going further. You feel like literally the exorcist. You're spinning, you've gone around all the way. You're like an owl. You've done amazing things today, guys. And we're going to open our eyes up right now, and we're going to try that exercise one more time. All right, so now you are going to take your right hand again, and you're going to go further than last time. You're going to turn, 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 turn. All right, now face forward. Raise your hand if you went a lot further than you did last time. Look around, look at the room. Every hand is raised. Guys, you can have a seat. Great job by that. Great job. Have a seat. So, I'm going to give the second half of the presentation here, and it's abbreviated anyways. It's normally about a half hour. We're going to do it in 6 minutes. Sound good? I told you got to have a plan A in life, a plan B, C, D, E, F, and G. I'm right now on H. Okay? No, I'm kidding. I do these all day. So, no, here's the reality, guys. You got the listing. Let's hear it. Got the listing. Good job. Let's go. List to live. Before you hit that go live button, I want you to think of that listing a little bit differently today. I want you to look at those 3 listings you have, the 5, some have 11, some have 10, differently. I want you to reach out to a top producing agent in your office, somebody you like and you trust, maybe not in your office, from another market, and say, hey, listen, I want you to poke holes through this, kick the tires. Tell me what you see, what you like. I know you haven't been in it. And they'll be able to identify maybe some of your bias, maybe some of the things that you focus on that you shouldn't. Maybe you're showing the bedrooms, bedroom 2, 3, 4, and 5. Maybe you're showing the guest bathroom that hasn't been updated in 87 years. Why are you showing that? There's nothing that says that you have to show all bathrooms or all bedrooms. Okay, so fresh eyes analysis. That's something that I want you to really focus on in all your marketing efforts. I want you to have someone do a SWOT analysis on your social media. I have non-real estate agents in the room. If you become a real estate agent, if you are a real estate agent, align yourself up with great resources. These guys are doing another amazing event with 10 top producers in August. Again, the energy in the room. You hang out with 9 top producers, you're bound to be the 10th. You hang out with 9 deadbeats that they're underachievers, you're going to be the 10th. So who are you surrounding yourself with? I love when people say you can't do something. The back of my book says, prove them wrong. Well, who's them? It's different for all of us. So really work on getting your listing inventory. I told you the 4 P's earlier. Price, property, person, and positioning. If you have to take an overpriced property because you don't have much inventory, take it. If the person's a jerk and you got to take overpriced property but you don't have listings, take it. If they won't listen to you. Positioning is about you giving suggestions, toning down, take those animal heads down, the pink wallpaper, all that, and they don't listen to you. Take it anyways. Now, when you build your inventory up like I have, you can be a little more selective, okay? But until you've been there, you have to be willing to kiss some frogs, to grit, okay? Everybody sees $1 million agents. They think it's all sexy. Being an entrepreneur is the loneliest planet on earth. You can't talk about how life is amazing, my business is so good, because guess what? Your entry level or average price people, they think you're too big now and you're not going to give them the time. If business sucks and you talk about business sucks, they're going to think you're negative Nancy, negative Nick, and why am I going to list with them because they don't have money to market my home. You go home, your wife, your husband doesn't want to hear about your business. So it can be literally the loneliest. So you got to plug in. Okay, what you're listening to, who you're surrounding, your network, your team, your organization, whatever you want to call it. You got to live off that momentum. You got to create momentum sometimes. Create urgency. So it's a mental battle. This business is ups and downs and turbulence, highs, lows. Okay? Who knows? We might be in for a recession. The market might tank. But you have to stay positive. You have to diversify your portfolio. I'm selling $150,000 properties that I wouldn't take, but I have a team member that goes to those now. I got a lead source, and they're giving us leads. So normally I would say no, we're taking them. I'm trying to diversify my portfolio because I have team members that are hungry, and the market's shifting. Okay? So guys, there's no easy button. There's no magic pill. It's a grind. It's the grit. It's the day-to-day things. You know, we want instant gratification in this world. We had, you're in California. I had to have In-N-Out last night, right, Scott? We waited in a 20-minute line. Scott here from Listings to Leads. Have you heard of Listing to Leads? Okay, he's the owner of it. And check it out. If not, what can they Google or check out, Scott? ListingToLeads.com. Check it out. It's a subscription-based company. He's here as a friend. Did he not tell me to plug him? But we're in line at In-N-Out. I'm in California. Got to do In-N-Out. You know, people want instant. The line was too long. You got to, things take time. I am on this planet, I think, to raise the bar and to help you guys. And it's not just those that buy my book or buy I'm here to help any of you. I'm going to stick around. My flight's not till 11 o'clock, so I'll stick around. We have some books left. If those of you that want a book, go to that URL on here called Luxury Listing Specials Book. Plant your credit card or have cash. And I'll keep the QR code up for a week. That will be up there for a week, guys. Not in this room a week, but it will be, if you use the promo code Luxury600, think about it. Sleep on it. I appreciate that. When a seller, I go on a listing appointment, I tell sellers I'm not in the arm-twisting business. If I'm recruiting an agent, I tell them I'm not in the arm-twisting business. Listen, if there's some people, Mike Ferry's of the world, that are hard-closed sellers. Nothing against Mike Ferry. He's awesome. Tom Ferry, awesome. Everybody's got different philosophies. My philosophy is give so much value, make it such a great experience that they're going to be it's a no-brainer that they should hire you or they should join your team. Does that make sense? I do believe people will remember not everything I said today, but they'll remember how I made you feel. Okay? Build up others. I do back scratching prayers. No offense, I'm scratching your back right now. When I tuck my kids in, I do back scratching prayers. And I talk about making somebody's day, building others up. You know, we have two things, and you have and I have, that determines whether you're going to be a successful person and not. Number one is your attitude. What you focus on expands. My son was on a 1-27 baseball team. 1-27. That means they won one game and lost 27. 16 by slaughter rule. They got smoked. They had a 23-game losing streak. They won their last game 15-0. Okay? I share that with you because their coaches worked on their mindset. Listen, the coaches did a great job. The kids remained positive. So your attitude. And the second is your effort. What are you putting in? You usually in life get in what you get out. You get out what you put in, excuse me. I'm trying to get back, I'm under 170. I'm above 170. I'm trying to get under 170. I can only look in the mirror for me to get there. You get out what you put in. I'm going to stick around for anybody that wants to take a picture, ask a question, if you want the book, I'm sticking around. If you guys want to grab dinner tonight, I'll stick around for that too or something. Literally, I got an 11 o'clock flight. I'm taking the red eye and I'm driving back. Now, I will tell you, I came here when Rob and James and Brent Gove, this is not a plug for them or a recruiting pitch. I'm here to tell you, those guys put a lot of time in. They paid for this room, and they did exactly what you should do. They did that. Thank you. Let's hear it for them. He did it with the idea that, and it's smart, I do the same thing in my market. Lead with a giving hand. You do some great experiences that if at some point in the market's shifting, you say, you know what, maybe I should check out their company, their brand. You consider it. That's all they ask, so consider it. If not, they'll cheerfully welcome you to their August event. They're not in the arm-twisting business, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stick around and answer individual questions, but I'm here to tell you that just do it. Just do it. You might want to write that down. Just do it. When you wake up and you don't want to go to the gym, just do it. Do it anyways. You don't really want to go on that listing appointment. You don't think you'll get it. Just do it anyways. By the way, you'll learn a lot of times from your failures more so than your successes. Ask the seller. It hurts, by the way. Mr. Seller, Mrs. Seller, do you mind? I'm trying to better myself. Was there something I didn't cover or I said that maybe somebody else did? Or if you don't mind, any suggestions on why you went with Joey? You know, they'll sometimes tell you. The truth hurts. It stings. Still stings. 22 years in the... But I want to get better. You can't win them all. You don't want them all. You don't want them all. You don't. Some of you just want one. I get it. Okay? Door knock. Do something. Work other people's open houses. But guys, you were excellent today. I hope that this was very valuable. I hope I blew you away with some tactable content for everybody, whether you're advanced or you're a newer agent. My name is Michael LaFido. Until next time, prove others wrong. Thank you.